national team and if we should be worried heading into the World.
Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Lost Pages. Let's get lucky.
The Giants are probably going to open up 1-5 on the season. So then you start to say the fans are getting angry. They just want to see Dart. The ownership's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we make the right move with Russ here. But then you have self-preservation mode with the general manager and the head coach where it almost seems like it's inevitable. Midway through the season, it's going to have to be Jackson Dart. Otherwise, what are we doing, Giants?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It should be illegal for Scottie Scheffler to play on the PGA Tour. This guy can't be stopped. Another victory at the BMW Championship. He has a chip on the 17th, which will go down in the history books. 82 feet, landed 60 feet short, and then rolled the rest of the way. Super exciting win again for Scheffler, who is not only the best golfer in the world, he's becoming one of the best golfers of all time.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy, and we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions is live on SportsGrid on this Tuesday night. Kevin Walsh with you to set you up for all of the action that will be delivered on tonight's slate and all of the action that is around the corner and even the market movements that we're tracking here on Game Time Decisions. The Major League Baseball board is calling right off of the top. If you're looking to get into the mix right away, you have that chance. Baltimore at home in Kyle Bradish's second start are booked as favorites against the Pirates. That game is less than 5 minutes away. We have a pick'em battle in the American League Central between the Guardians and the Royals. It's Miami and Washington down in South Beach. Our producer, Pat, is on the over in that baseball game if you are so inclined. We even have a big one between the Phillies and the Mets. We talked a bit yesterday about the Mets being favored on the road against the Phils. A lot of that was because of Nolan McLean, and it's not his fault they lost the game. The Mets blanked. But Aaron Nola turned that clock back. 6 innings strong, did not give up a run, only allowed 3 hits, struck out 7. The Mets now somewhat trying to leave the door open for the back end of that NL wildcard race. Still the biggest thing working in the Mets' favor. The Giants, the Reds, the D-backs are under 500. These teams continuously tripping over themselves in a chance to track down, it feels like, this Phillies team. I played the Phils in a moneyline parlay tonight, paired them up with the Tampa Bay Rays, who are on your 740 slate here tonight, around a 2-1 number to get those two teams across the finish line. I think there will also be eyes in the American League battle between 4 teams that are heavily expected to be in the playoffs. The Yankees host the Detroit Tigers with Will Warren getting the baseball against Casey Mize. And then you have the Astros and the Blue Jays. Shane Bieber rocked for the first time as a Toronto Blue Jay, booked as a favorite in a bounce-back spot against an Astros team that's been playing some pretty ugly baseball for a while now. We will track the entirety of this Major League Baseball board. We will also put our eyes on the WNBA slate tonight. Brian Fonseca stops by in less than 10 minutes to get his thoughts on the WNBA. We'll even get maybe some thoughts over in the Euro basket that's been going on. A lot of the superstars, Luka, Giannis, Alperen Şengün, Jokic, these guys are starring, and Brian's done an excellent job covering it. What are the big games tonight? What is on the line tonight? It's that final playoff spot. Late night Seattle, a 6.5-point favorite at home against the Golden State Valkyries. The Storm trying to hold off the trying to hold off the LA Sparks, who are on the road against the Phoenix Mercury. Still a lot up for grabs within the WNBA. Ultimately, where is the seeding going to land? It seems to project the Lynx are the 1 seed. They've clinched that. The Dream of the Aces will be the 2 or the 3. The Mercury will be the 4 or the 5. And then the Valkyries, the Fever, the Storm, and the Sparks will make up that back end. It's going to be quite the climb for LA to crash into this postseason party. Vegas, by the way, a 16.5-point favorite late night as they look to win their 15th consecutive game. Angel Reese, still a game-time decision for that matchup on the road. If she is in, I think you could expect some line movement as these teams recently played, and Angel Reese did not, and it was a 16.5-point spread. So if Reese is out there 14.5, 13.5, she's worth that kind of move to Chicago. Certainly something we will be tracking. We will also tonight have another Kevin 7, of course. Could be anything. Ranking, futures, complaints, maybe, not really. How about overreactions? Now, the beauty in it all is I don't think these are overreactions. I think I'm just right. In fact, as we go through my 7 week 1 overreactions, one of them I'm already right about. You know, I submit these to the team. They put it all together, and we could have changed it. I said, no, I'm already right. I'm already right. So we will get to some week 1 overreactions here on a Tuesday now that that week is finalized. We also, mind you, have maybe seen an overreaction in the NFC North market. Last night, Monday Night Football, it felt like the Chicago Bears were going to start anew. It felt like they were going to get off on the right foot. Year 2, Caleb Williams. Year 1, head coach Ben Johnson. And instead, a Vikings comeback has seen them supplant the Detroit Lions for the second best odds in the NFC North divisional pricing, and it has seen Minnesota jump Detroit as it pertains to make the playoff price. The Lions are now a dog to make the postseason. That is incredibly noteworthy. The Detroit Lions, and I wonder if that's how it would have looked if it was the Bears. I almost think no, because Chicago was priced as the 4th team in that division and had more of a ladder to climb. I think Chicago with a win, especially if that game continued on its initial trajectory, I think Chicago would have been in front of Minnesota but not in front of Detroit. Well, a Viking win off of last year's, great regular season and some now built-in pedigree around Kevin O'Connell, Brian Flores on the defensive side of the ball, the market has shifted. And I'm not in on Detroit, but I'm also not in on Minnesota. So if you wanted to sell me on the Lions and sell me on some value that it's not all doom and gloom around that football team, pointing to the market saying, okay, the Vikings now have a more glowing outlook would be a better way to get me in on the Lions. The beauty of it all, though, here on tonight's show is we'll start to figure out what the market movement has put forth in Week 2 NFL lines. We'll talk to Brady Cannon, as we did throughout last season, who does a great job getting ahead of these lines, power rates his numbers. Where is he right on the market? Where does he see some differences within his numbers? And one of the biggest games that you get for Week 2 of the NFL season is Detroit and Chicago. Ben Johnson returns to Detroit, many years as the offensive coordinator, but also 2 teams that really need it. And in a way, I don't know if either team getting a win will feel as if it has completely salvaged the whole thing. It's that the losing team will be distraught, will be down in the gutter. Because for the Lions, their performance week 1 against Green Bay was very concerning. Now, you might try and chalk that up to the Packers are really good. I don't know if I'm going to fully chalk it up to all of that. Handle business against the Bears, and we can talk. And if you're the Chicago Bears, you start 0-2 in division. Tiebreakers factor in. It's going to be hard to cash in on playoff expectations that were at least out there. I know they were there for me. And that game, albeit a good one, has no case for the best game of the week. Eagles-Chiefs, Super Bowl rematch in Kansas City. Line starts with Patrick Mahomes as a home underdog. Pat Mahomes in his NFL career as a favorite of less than a field goal or an underdog, nearly unstoppable. Then again, the last time that happened was against the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl, and we saw what that looked like. We'll get Brady's thoughts on all of that. We'll give you our thoughts on that. But we go to the WNBA slate with the help of Brian Fonseca next year on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Donnie, the season is 6 months, 5 if you check out in September. You're going to have a bad month. The Yankees had a horrible month. That is true. But beyond that, their regular season looks okay. They're going to win their 90 games or maybe a little bit more and get to the postseason. What is everybody freaking out about?
Everybody freaks out. It's the Yankee tax and the Yankee fan tax as well, where every single season you enter into the equation going like, it's championship or bust.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes what. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with obviously Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I was looking at through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls and anger, specifically from two teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Game time decisions live right here on SportsGrid. Baseball board is off and running. The WNBA board won't be far behind. Let's take the opportunity to talk some hoops here with Brian Fonseca. Knows the W well, knows the NBA well, and if we have enough time, might ask him a little bit about Eurobasket, which does have some superstars going off over in that league, and no one's been covering it more than Brian Fonseca. Brian, always good to talk. I just want to get right into it here because the WNBA tonight features two near 15, if not more, point favorites in the Liberty and the Aces. And the Liberty and the Aces being close in terms of title odds is how the season started and makes sense. And then they grew wildly far apart, and that also made sense. And we are growing closer and closer to Vegas jumping New York in the title market. What is your outlook for these two perennial contenders?
I feel better about the team who could avoid Minnesota the longest, is where I'm at.
Fair enough.
And right now, it looks like it'll probably be the Aces, but we'll ultimately see how the standings shake out. My concern with the Liberty has been all year long. Well, not all year long, but really the second half of the year. Are they going to have enough time to account for the injuries? Are they going to have enough time to just get their chemistry back, get everyone at full strength in the playoffs, and have had them at full strength for some time, which it doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. We're still talking about potential minutes restrictions for Sabrina Ionescu, for example. We're still wondering, okay, how is this team actually going to look when it matters? And you're staring at a situation where that 4-5 matchup, assuming they stay locked in there with Phoenix specifically, that's not a gimme at all. And this is already a Liberty team that last year we kind of felt watching this. Yeah, they got the title, but I don't feel strong about them repeating given the nature of, how they actually won this championship. Admittedly, I felt like a lot of people, myself included, may have overlooked Minnesota a bit, but I've thought from the very beginning, Kev, I'm like, this is Minnesota's year. This is Minnesota's year to do it. This is Nafisa Collier's year to lead a team, get Finals MVP. Like, I've thought this since the moment last year's Finals ended. I felt like Minnesota was a team to beat all season long, and I haven't moved off that at all.
Well, listen, neither has the market, and the market is continued to agree with that sentiment. I will say for the Lynx, and we've seen this. I remember one year the Celtics were given a really tough draw, and then a bunch of injuries worked in their favor. It was like, wait, they have to play the Heat in the 1-8? Now, maybe that'll happen for the Lynx, but I got to tell you, a 4-5 Phoenix in New York, not great. I mean, you're either getting Alyssa Thomas and Satu Samali, or you're getting, the defending champions who eliminated you last year. So the path is super important, but the Lynx have obviously been able to show their mettle. Have you been betting a lot of the WNBA day to day? Because you do have at the bottom of this league some teams that have clearly tapped out. Wings have lost 10 in a row. Mystics have lost 9 in a row. The Sky, it's a complete guessing game if Angel Reese is going to play. Even on tonight's slate there, I feel like these have been tricky waters as we close out this regular season.
I feel like I bet it more last season, as a matter of fact. I don't feel like I bet a ton this year because I've been watching more this year and just analyzing and just taking it in. And also, it feels like this year we're dealing with more injuries, and it feels like the WNBA is catching up to the NBA in this regard. But like I'm checking the injury reports more often with the W than I ever have. And this is a trend that I think is going to continue as the season continues to add games. Like as we get more and more games and longer WNBA seasons and more money obviously gets poured into this product, deservingly so. Well, actually, we'll see because there might be a strike. As I'm looking at all this, like I find myself just watching the games more so and being like, man, I don't really know if I want part of this. Now, future is different. Like I did take some futures before the season. I'm actually staring down right now the Seattle Storm. I need them to win these last couple games because their over-under was 23.5 and they're 22-20. Phoenix, we already got. It doesn't look like Sonia Citron's going to win Rookie of the Year. I love Paige Beckers, but I was like, hey, if she gets hurt again, Sonia Citron could actually fill into that spot, and I think she's going to be in the top 2 or 3. And she's been very, very good, although the Mystics, who are playing the Liberty tonight, haven't been. But I think she's a building block. But yeah, in terms of the playoffs, like, that Mercury team, I think Alyssa Thomas is one of the 5 players I want to see the least in the playoff series, given I understand the Connecticut Sun didn't win a WNBA championship, but Alyssa Thomas had that team as contenders for a lot of years and is still one of the best players in the league. And ultimately like was one of the reasons Connecticut also had a top defense year in and year out. So if I'm the Liberty, that's not the matchup I want. Not in the first round.
No, I agree on that. Now, if you are, a hoop head and you're looking for more and more basketball, Eurobasket has stars in it. I mean, Luka Doncic is there. Şengün's been breaking out. Serbia got stunned a little bit by Finland, which took out Nikola Jokic. But, Brian, you've been covering this better than anybody. I see Germany as a minus 125 favorite to win this whole thing. They're 12.5-point favorites, I believe, tomorrow against Luka. What's your quick outlook before we let you go around everything going on in Eurobasket?
Germany was the best team in this tournament before Serbia lost. Before Serbia lost to Finland in a surprise, because Bogdan Bogdanovic was out. And even when Bogdan Bogdanovic was there, I felt like Serbia was a little overvalued. They were about plus 140 heading into the tournament to win the entire thing. Germany was like 3-1 or something along those lines. And Germany, as great as they've been, I still feel like they're getting overlooked because they don't have like a capital A star, so to speak, when you're looking at their roster as it relates to the NBA. So I think people look at them and they're like Dennis Schroeder, Franz Wagner, and a bunch of dudes. And it's like, no, this is a system. This is a system. This is a team. People throw around, hey, teams from Europe have more chemistry because they've been together. This team has actually been together. They got a medal in the last Eurobasket in 2022. They won the World Cup, went undefeated in 2023, and they nearly medaled in the Olympics last year. So I think Germany is a deserving favorite, and they're the team that if they lose, I'd be surprised, and I don't know if Slovenia is going to have enough outside of Luka Doncic to get it done.
Yeah, Luka, though, will likely still, 35, 8-8 probably on the way out. Brian, we appreciate it. As always, we'll be right back. More Game Time.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Dallas Cowboys losing that pass rush, losing another big impact player on the defensive side, all this does is make me like Dak Prescott more and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens more, because what we talked about all offseason, right, Matt, which is, hey, when Dak is healthy, he is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and the defense we think is okay, but we think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. Now I definitely think there's going to be a lot more shootouts.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
So game one, I already made a mistake. I put my touchdown prop bets in hours ago. When you and I started talking before kickoff, I got so excited and I bet him again without even thinking that I already did it.
I
was like, yeah, Jalen Hurts. I was like, and then I was like, wait, I think I already did this. And I scrolled down. I was like, yeah, you already did do this. And I was like, oh, it's okay. That's okay.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Live with you on this Tuesday night, we get to week one overreactions at the top of the hour. We got some good stuff in there. Listen, I think you're going to agree with almost all of it. Maybe an item here or there, but I think this is pretty sound. We'll see. We'll get to it. Let's put some picks on the board. We already mentioned Pat in the back on the over in Nats Marlins. 3 in the first half of the first inning. Can't be mad at that. AJ's looking for runs in Cubs Braves. This is an important game if you are a sicko with an NL Cy Young ticket on either Drake Baldwin or Cade Horton. AJ, Rookie of the Year, excuse me. I'm thinking of Cy Young because I was trying to root in the Chase Burns wasteful $10 no sweat I have. But AJ's been in the mix in this one. He likes the over in the game. Listen, I'll tell you this. We're not doing, I told you, the Tank Tuesday stuff. Like, we did it one extra week. I don't, come on with the baseball. They're lowering, like, the juice on the boost now. It's like, right? Like, if you want to bet a home run, is Ohtani going to hit one? Yeah. But, like, well, you know, let's be serious. With that said, if Baldwin goes deep tonight, it's going to move the market. You go through those baseball awards. Ohtani minus, 50,000, 20,000 Schoolball, 50,000 Skeens, plus 115 Drake Baldwin, plus 110 Cade Horton. You can tell it's just been a completely different type of race. Rooting in the over. Yarnell, appropriately, is completely off the radar with a Julian Alvarez anytime goal scorer for Argentina. I mean, listen, it's out of nowhere. It's a plus 230 ticket. It's a World Cup qualifier. We respect soccer on this show. Can't say I saw it coming. Give me the over in the Yanks game. I like juice here tonight. We got family at the stadium, and we didn't know that before we placed the bet. Makes me feel even better. Will Warren, I think he gets hit tonight a little bit. I think this Detroit lineup has enough lefties to take advantage of the ballpark. Little Gleyber Torres homecoming. Casey Mize vulnerable as well. Fascinated to see how Aaron Judge can finish out this season. Obviously, the injuries derailed what was an all-timer. But Aaron Judge, all in all, trying to finish with that batting average above 320. Can he get on a heater? Can he get on a heater to finish with 50 home runs? He's going to have to wake it back up. Hasn't homered yet in September. He definitely homers in this series. Don't mind if you're playing Judge to get over the fence tonight. I'm on the over 8.5 in that game. Other spots that stood out on the baseball board, even if I'm not going to necessarily get to the window on them, it really is it's about Ohtani, okay? Ohtani tonight against German Marquez has, you would imagine, an opportunity to just let it fly. And I think one of the interesting numbers Ohtani is chasing this year, and I know he shouldn't have a problem getting there, but there's not as many games left as probably your mind thinks. It is another 100 RBI season. He's 10 away. Again, shouldn't have much of an issue getting there, but he's minus 110 for an RBI tonight. He's around plus 155 or so for the home run, and maybe that's just how he does it. He's only 2 away from another 50 home run season. For Ohtani, that would be back-to-back 50 home run seasons, the only 2 of his career. So obviously entering a completely different threshold for that market. That would be big time for Ohtani. I expect him to step up undoubtedly. On the WNBA side of things, okay, a few interesting spots. I don't mind it if you play the Lynx. They're a short number tonight against Indiana because Nafisha Collier's out, but the reality is the Lynx have played a lot of this season without Fee and been fine. So their number stood out a little bit. If Angel Reese plays and you're getting over 15 against the Aces, that'll stand out. But the number that I'm going to play tonight is going to be Skylar Diggins over the 13.5 point prop against the Golden State Valkyries. It is a little narrative-y, but I do think it's legit. This team, in terms of Seattle, needs to win to make sure that they can secure their position within the postseason. And that then puts the pressure on Skylar to step up. Didn't have her most efficient game last game. 5 of 12, 14 points, creeps over the number. The big thing that stood out to me, 35 minutes played. This is a playoff type of game for Skylar Diggins, who last year in the playoffs, 36 and 37 minutes in the 2 games they had. If we get that type of workload, pair it with a bit of efficiency, Skylar Diggins is live for a 20-point performance tonight here against Golden State. So that's what we're going to look for. Up next, Week 1 overreactions. Actually, just a bunch of things I'm going to be right about. That's next, right here on Game Time Decisions.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole lot of heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Dallas Cowboys losing that pass rush, losing another big impact player on the defensive side, all this does is make me like Dak Prescott more and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens more because what we talked about all offseason, right, Matt, which is, hey, when Dak is healthy, he is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and the defense we think is okay, but we think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. Now I definitely think there's going to be a lot more shootouts.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
So game one, I already made a mistake. I put my touchdown prop bets in hours ago. When you and I started talking before kickoff, I got so excited and I bet him again without even thinking that I already did it.
Oh,
I was like, oh, yeah, Jalen Hurts. Oh, yeah. I was like, and then I was like, wait, I think I already did this. And I scrolled down. I was like, yeah, you already did do this. And I was like, oh, it's okay. That's okay.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
If it's a Tuesday, we're doing Kevin 7 at the top of the hour. I mean, actually, I guess that could be subject to change, but it's been pretty consistent so far, and it's been a lot of fun. Despite the fact that the origin story of Kevin 7 is me giving out 7 possible Super Bowl futures and then picking 0 of those 7 teams in the market, but that's okay. We live and learn. We adjust. And we get to react. Right? We could have did this. We could have done this yesterday. We want to wait. Right? 7 week 1 overreactions. We begin in Jacksonville. Travis Hunter will have 100+ receptions this season. Travis Hunter in week number 1, 6 catches, 8 targets. Now, that may not be an earth-shattering set of numbers to you, but it's on pace. You need to average just under 6 receptions a game to get to 100+ catches. And once Travis Hunter was traded up for by the Jaguars, his offensive workload was going to be more than many expected in the pre-draft process. And it has now been made clear that Travis Hunter's offensive workload is going to not exactly be 100%, but be that of a full-time wide receiver. And it's rightful because he is that talented. And Liam Coleman has talked about, I got to use Travis in the screen game. We saw that in week number 1. Travis Hunter basically starts every game with 2 receptions. Pop, bubble screens, let's see if he can get loose. And the yardage will come. The 2 targets that were not completed passes were chunk plays, missed opportunities. One of them could have been a 50-plus yarder, but I believe J.C. Horn made a great play. And for Travis Hunter to have 6 receptions, which again is on pace, in a rare game script for Jacksonville, where they were up by 2 touchdowns before half, and that never changed, is an incredible sign. It means there are 10-plus reception games going. Look, after 1 week, I'm not changing award picks. I don't think I'm running to get back into the market. I'm going to give things some time. But with each passing day, I get closer and closer to actually thinking Travis Hunter is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's a long season, but over the course of this season, he has 100+ receptions. Let's stick in the wide receiver world. Marvin Harrison Jr. still has a chance to be the best wide receiver in his draft class. The reality for Marvin is he was pushed down and almost tossed aside due to how good his contemporaries were. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and Ladd McConkey all last season in their rookie seasons with over 1,000 receiving yards. All really impressive. But let's not forget that Marvin Harrison Jr. was seen as the consensus top dog in the class, one of the best wide receiver prospects the league has seen. And while those guys were great last year and much better than Marvin Harrison was much better last year, I think, than many realize. He was productive. There were only 7 players last year who had more receiving yards and receiving touchdowns than Marvin Harrison Jr. Only 7. And in week number 1, Marvin Harrison Jr. was one of 7 players to have 70-plus receiving yards and a receiving touchdown. The talent is there. It's only his second season. Kyler missed him on what would have been a 98-yard touchdown to go on top of his solid week 1 performance. In a game against the Saints they controlled and didn't throw a ton. Marvin Harrison Jr. still has a chance to be exactly who he was supposed to be. I said to start this show, I've already absolutely nailed one of these overreactions. The San Francisco 49ers are going to try load management this year. That's 1 for 1. George Kittle on the IR. The San Francisco 49ers and their injuries feel like they are nonstop, and it's going to be a lot to overcome. But this is where you remember the schedule for San Francisco. He's now going to miss the next, 4, 5 games? What are the games? Who are they against? At New Orleans. They'll be favored if Mac Jones is the guy. Home against Arizona. They'll still be favored. It's Mac Jones. Home against Jacksonville. They'll still be favored if it's Mac Jones. At the Rams. Okay, they would be a dog if it's Mac Jones. Kittle's not going to play in any of those games. They're still going to be favored as long as Brock Purdy's the quarterback in maybe all of them. We'll see how things look for the Los Angeles Rams. And I think load management may just be the only way for the Niners to actually get through this season. Take advantage of a soft schedule and be healthy at the right time. There is no reason, let's say the Giants don't turn this around and they're terrible. CMC doesn't need 30 touches in week 9. Because clearly Kyle Shanahan, if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, is going to use him more than anyone else, okay? Then you're going to need a couple of off weeks there for CMC to make it through the season. Speaking of the Giants, Jackson Dart, we will see you week 3. Brian Dable cracked the door open to already benching Russell Wilson after 1 week of football. And how you want to parse the blame is up for debate, but the results are not. Under 50% completions, no touchdown, 6 points in a game that your defense gave you a chance to actually sneak up on the Commanders, and they couldn't take advantage of it. And if the Giants lose to Dallas, I will legitimately be stunned if it is not Jackson Dart in week number 3. Because the Giants are at home for their home opener, and they will be booed off the field if that game starts with Russell Wilson. And honestly, that's the stretch of games where if the Giants are going to do anything and make any noise, it has to start. That's not disrespectful to KC. They are home for 3 of their next 4, with the road game being against New Orleans, and the 5th game is going to be a mini-bye. If there was ever a time, the time is now. Speaking of booing your team, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl champs, who will also let you hear it, may not like this one, but the most unbiased man in the history of sports media has to be honest with the people. Saquon Barkley has no chance to repeat as Offensive Player of the Year. To be fair, this is one of those things that was probably true before the season started. We haven't seen a repeat OPOY since Marshall Faulk in the late 90s into the 2000s. We haven't seen someone win this award for a second time since Peyton Manning was playing for the Denver Broncos. But the Philadelphia Eagles are also putting on display they are not interested in Saquon Barkley touching the football in the regular season 300 times. Will Shipley got carries on the opening drive against Dallas, may have been injured in the game, so the Eagles traded multiple draft picks for Tank Bigsby. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to be cautious with Saquon, and It's just not going to give him an opportunity to repeat his OPOY. If a quarterback was going to win it, it would be a mobile quarterback. Jaden Daniels OPOY tickets, I'd rather them than MVP tickets. I can't get over how short the price is. And maybe it's because deep in my heart, I wish I could bet it. Jaden Daniels runs for 1,000 yards this season. Did it at LSU. Crept near those numbers last year. I think he's on the ground more this season. It was reflective in week number 1. I think we confirm this on Thursday. Jaden Daniels' 100-plus rushing yard alts will be something I'm keeping my eye on throughout this season. Last one. I don't need a lot of time because I will hear no other take. John Harbaugh is on the hot seat. Every year, the Ravens are the best team in football. The Ravens are the best team in football. Lamar's the best quarterback. The defense is the best in the league. Then win a game. You were favorites. I don't care, but it was by 1 on the road in Buffalo. Win a playoff game. Get the job done. Talk to Brady Cannon next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Donnie, the season is 6 months, 5 if you check out in September. You're going to have a bad month. The Yankees had a horrible month. That is true. But beyond that, their regular season looks okay. They're going to win their 90 games or maybe a little bit more and get to the postseason. What is everybody freaking out about?
Everybody freaks out. It's the Yankee tax and the Yankee fan tax as well, where every single season you enter into the equation going like, it's championship or bust.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes 1. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I was looking at through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls and anger, specifically from two teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
GameTime Decisions here with you on a Tuesday night. Now, we make decisions, of course, for the slate that is offered up here on a Tuesday, but it's never too early to start to figure out what do you want to do for Week 2 in the National Football League. So, as always, our man Brady Cannon is here, who we will talk to throughout this football season. The earliest we're going to do it on this show is on a Tuesday. I know some of these numbers are out by Sunday and will move around on a Monday. And I want to start just with that notion, Brady, before we get to any specific games. When you're trying to figure out the timing of betting these games in advance, right? For someone like yourself who sees these numbers Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I assume you're not often betting these games on Saturday and then Sunday. You've probably already solidified those wagers. Can you just tell the people a little bit about the timing of these bets now that this is the type of time of year we're in?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's becoming better at an entire other skill set. You know, there's handicapping, and then there's being a good bettor on top of that. And part of being a good bettor, I think, is, and a good handicapper really, is market reading. So, you know, you have to be able to kind of look at the market and have a crystal ball and make good guesses about when a line's going to move or which direction it is going to move in. And I think that's a good question to ask yourself. If you're looking at a board with all the games and all the numbers, and you see, you know, this team is favored by 2.5, ask yourself, what's the next move? Is it going to go to 3 or is it going to go to 2? Because if you think it's going to go to 3, that's obviously a very important move. So, you know, again, that's just another skill set, and obviously timing and trying to get that closing line value. That's all part of the process and a part of this wacky challenge that we face, you know, put upon ourselves week in and week out, right? But, you know, my first exercise at this point in the week is making my own lines, what I think the line will be, and that's what I think the line should be. I'm not trying to say, if I was a bookmaker, what would I set the number at to garner action on both sides? And, you know, that can sometimes be a very different number. I'm trying to say what I think the number should be, what team A I expect to beat team B by, and what is the home field advantage for either side, what have you, like that. And so that's my first step. And then I compare that to where the lines are in the market. And if I see some discrepancy, and, you know, then I'll dive in deeper and say, okay, why am I so off here? What am I missing?
Yeah, I think that is a good insight into what the process can look like. Let's talk then about one of these games, Brady, where you mentioned key numbers. And I'm looking at Pittsburgh, Seattle, week number 2 in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers are laying 3 almost everywhere. A couple of loose 2.5s are out there. Again, it depends what you like. If you're all about, you know, Seattle in that game, patience is probably the name of the game. If you're on Pittsburgh, not a lot of 2.5s. What did you make of Aaron Rodgers' home debut for the Steelers?
I thought the Steelers looked pretty good. You know, I'll give the Jets credit too. I mean, if you can rush the football the way they did against, you know, I don't care what year or what edition it is of a Pittsburgh Steelers defense, they're typically very good in stopping the run. And I mean, that was a heck of a ball game. Did you ever expect the Steelers and the Jets to put up 60-plus points on the board? No. Did you expect Aaron Rodgers to throw for 4 touchdowns? No, I didn't. It was a good football game. I'm happy Pittsburgh got the win. I've got over their season win total of 8.5. But I tell you, the Jets surprised me a little bit. I thought Justin Fields played really, really well. And the one thing I guess I was surprised that didn't happen in Pittsburgh is I thought they'd be able to run the ball better. And maybe that's a credit to the Jets defense. We'll see how they do here against Seattle. You know, Seattle was another team that I was on in week 1 and really disappointed me. I mean, you know, they absolutely let that game slip through their fingers. And they even had a chance when they let San Francisco back in. They had the ball, you know, inside the 10-yard line and going the other way, and Sam Darnold fumbles. Credit to Nick Bosa for forcing that. But, you know, I think Seattle really blew that one. And now you're asking them to go into this game on the road. I mean, I feel like if they blew that at home when they absolutely had the other team down, what are they expected to do on the road against another formidable opponent? I made the number 2.5. And when I looked at it this morning, I saw some 3s starting to pop. And I said, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I agree. I went through it as well as much as I could with, not seeing the numbers prior. And I figured with how the Steelers offense looked and with how Sam Darnold looked, it was going to have to be at least 3 to get people to grab the Seahawks. 2.5 again is still sitting out there. Another game that looks to be sitting on a key number right now is Buffalo and New York, where there are some flat sevens, but we're under the touchdown in plenty of other places. Is that a game that you have had your eye on, just, connecting the Steelers and Jets game together and how that translates into week number 2?
Well, like I say, I think the Jets were a pleasant surprise. They put up a ton of points. How many times did they put up 30-plus points last season? Ever? At all?
Not many.
Fields was very good. Other than Garrett Wilson, you were wondering what their weapons were going to be. But again, they ran the ball very, very well. They gave up a lot of points, but their defense was respectable. It was a back and forth type of game. They were better than I thought they were going to be. And I didn't lay the points with the Steelers. We were on the Jets in one of my contests that was getting 3. Unfortunately, that came through. But I didn't have a real strong opinion on that game either way. But now I think the Jets may be a little bit better than the market expected. And also at the same time, everybody is sky high on the Buffalo Bills. And why wouldn't you be? And I imagine they're a little fat and happy too after an amazing, absolutely stunning Sunday night football game. I made the number 7, but the situation here, I believe, screams Jets, because you got to believe there's going to be a little bit of an exhale here on the part of the Bills. And again, I think the Jets are a little bit better than we expected.
Let's continue to talk to Brandy about some of the week 2 options, which includes a Super Bowl rematch where Patrick Mahomes may end up a home underdog. We'll talk about it next right here on SportsGrid.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, yeah. I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football, because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Dallas Cowboys losing that pass rush, losing another big impact player on the defensive side, all this does is make me like Dak Prescott more and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens more, because what we talked about all offseason, right, Matt, which is, hey, when Dak is healthy, he is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and the defense we think is okay, but we think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. Now I definitely think there's going to be a lot more shootouts.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
So game 1, I already made a mistake. I put my touchdown prop bets in hours ago. When you and I started talking before kickoff, I got so excited and I bet him again without even thinking that I already did it.
I
was like, yeah, Jalen Hurts. I was like, and then I was like, wait, I think I already did this. And I scrolled down. I was like, yeah, you already did do this. And I was like, that's okay. That's okay.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
GameTime Decisions is live on SportsGrid on a Tuesday, getting you ready to make decisions for this upcoming week in the National Football League with a lot of good games. But you're crazy if you try. Don't be this guy. Don't be the hipster who goes, actually, the best game. No, stop. There's a Super Bowl rematch in week 2, and if the Kansas City Chiefs lose, they're 0-2 for the first time in the Mahomes era. And, oh, by the way, they're kind of favored to lose the game. I know it's tight, but it shades Philly in more areas than it does Kansas City. So we're here. We're with Brady Cannon, and Brady, you were telling me you were surprised when you saw the spread for that Super Bowl rematch.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. I made my number this morning without looking at anything. That's what I don't want to be influenced. I don't want to have already seen a number, that type of thing. I made my number first, and I made the Chiefs favored by 3. And then I looked at what the line was over the summertime when they come out in, I don't know, May or June or whatever it was, and they made this game a pick'em, which I found pretty interesting. So the odds makers over the summer were telling you that they thought Philadelphia was slightly better. And then we see the actual line that came out, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. What was Philadelphia favored by 1 or even 1.5 in the case there on the graphic you're showing? So that tells you the odds makers think, Philadelphia is, 2.5 points better, maybe 3 points better. And you and I were just talking about this off air. How much is home field advantage worth? I think Arrowhead Stadium is one of the stadiums, one of the venues in the National Football League that the home field advantage is pretty strong. And, back in the day, it used to just be an automatic 3 points, and some places might have been 3.5 or 4 or 5 points. The Seattles and the New Orleans and the Lambos. That's all changed, but I still think Kansas City is probably a solid 2 points. Maybe 2.5 in the minds of some. So if Philadelphia is favored here, they're saying they're a much stronger team. I know the Chiefs didn't look good. Xavier Worthy's a little banged up. That's not going to influence a line this much. I was obviously way off from what the line over the summertime was too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with 3 points, I was pretty much saying these teams are very equal. I could have said 2.5, 2, but 3 seemed like the right number to me. Chiefs off a loss. Both of these teams have plenty of rest playing earlier in the week last week. But I wasn't all that impressed with Philadelphia. I think Jalen Hurts was incredibly impressive. I thought Dallas was impressive to hang with the Eagles for as long as they did. But I thought that Eagles defense had a lot of holes and a lot of problems. Dallas was able to move the ball quite efficiently against them. Again, Hurts was his leadership, the way he ran the offense, very impressive. But I thought otherwise, it didn't look like a Super Bowl. It didn't look like the Bills or the Ravens did to me on Thursday night. And I know, again, the Chiefs didn't look that great either, but I don't know. That one's very interesting, and I'm going to have to dive in deeper. You got to believe, no matter who it is, the sharps, the recreational bettors, what have you, if this line gets high enough on Philly, they're going to jump in on Kansas City as a home dog for sure.
Yeah, I tend to imagine KC will close as a favorite. I just have to think that you can't hang a plus price near their name for too long and it not go that way. I will say I did find when the schedule released, the fact that the Chiefs were going to be coming back from Brazil at a rest deficit was almost impossible, and it ends up being the case here with the Eagles having played on Thursday night. I'll ask you quickly, Brady, about this before we let you go. Brock Purdy may be questionable for the game in New Orleans. If it is Mac Jones, how much would that move that game for you?
Well, we've already seen it reflected in the market. I made the game 7, and that's pretty much where it opened. And now it's 4 or 4.5. I would kind of make the difference bigger than that. But, Jones is okay. But we're playing the Saints here too, and I think that's the tough part. The difference between Jones and Purdy, I think, is greater than 2.5 or 3 points. I would probably say it's more like 4 or 5 points. But again, you have to consider the opponent here. And there's already a lot of 4s in the market. My guess is that Purdy will play. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's a little too early to determine that.
Yeah, I think it's from a line perspective, it does. How much of it is Kittle, right? We know he's out. Is Jawan Jennings playing? I know there's a lot there.
He might be worth half a point.
Right.
Kittle might be worth half a point.
Is it just so much uncertainty, and then people were maybe betting even more on the question marks of it all? Be really interesting to see where that one settles up. Brady, we appreciate it. As always, going to be a really fun week. We'll check in, a little bit later on in the week when everything closes up here. Excellent as always from Brady Cannon. We will update you on the Major League Baseball board next.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole lot of money in there. Boy,
Yeah.
I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Dallas Cowboys losing that pass rush, losing another big impact player on the defensive side, all this does is make me like Dak Prescott more and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens more because what we talked about all offseason, right, Matt? Which is, hey, when Dak is healthy, he is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and the defense we think is okay, but we think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. Now I definitely think there's going to be a lot more shootouts.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
So game one, I already made a mistake. I put my touchdown prop bets in hours ago. When you and I started talking before kickoff, I got so excited and I bet him again without even thinking that I already did it.
Oh,
I was like, oh, yeah, Jalen Hurts. Oh, yeah. I was like, and then I was like, wait, I think I already did this. And I scrolled down. I was like, yeah, you already did do this. And I was like, oh, that's okay. That's okay.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions is here on a Tuesday night with you. Can we get involved with this live board? Anything speaking to anyone? Liberty up early on the Washington Mystics for the W slate. The game between the Fever and the Lynx is just about to get underway. We'll see where that lands. Both teams have clinched their playoff spot. I don't think necessarily the playoff seeding for the Fever is settled, but they are in. For Indiana, you'd rather not play the Lynx in the opening round. That is for sure. So to hold on the 7 seed, or if not even maybe move up to the 6 seed, would be ideal for them. One of the key things that we wait for tonight, I don't think word has come out yet, is whether or not Angel Reese will be playing against Chicago. Angel Reese, by the way, is, this is a thing we see all the time with, I feel like, trade requests in the NFL a lot, some NBA. Angel Reese's Instagram bio had said Chi-Town Barbie. It's now returned to Bayou Barbie, obviously hearkening back to the LSU days. I'm not sure how many of you are going to be rushing to grab WNBA futures for next season when this year ends. We are approaching the postseason. But Angel Reese not being a Chicago Sky as of next year feels very on the board. And the landing spot will be an odds changer because Angel Reese has been an impactful player through the first 2 years of her WNBA career. Okay, updated on the Major League Baseball board. We're one apiece, Baltimore and Pittsburgh, heading into the bottom of the 4th. That game was a Yerfie if you played it, as was Guardians-Royals, which is a 2-0 Cleveland lead with a Jose Ramirez home run in that first inning. 3-1 now on the over. We're rooting in for Pat. Again, that was an 8.5 number. Nats haven't scored since the first. The Marlins did tack one on. The Phils jumped all over Sean Manaea. They have already given him 4 earned runs through the first 2 times at bats. Currently in the bottom of the 3rd with that 4-0 Phillies lead. The Mets offense feels a little stuck in the mud right now. They've scored 3 or fewer runs in their last 4 losses, which is 4 of their last 5 games, have yet to break through here against Ranger Suarez. 2-0 Astros up on Toronto. Carlos Correa with a 417 is not nothing. With a big-time home run off of Shane Bieber. Could have had a lot more in the over Braves Cubs to start that game. Cubbies went walk, single, single. Followed it up with sac fly, strikeout, flyout. So it's only 1-0 Chicago in the first inning. The Yankees saw Aaron Judge go deep in the first. A lot of yes runs first inning tonight. Judge, though, gets home run 44. I believe I saw he's now 5th all-time in Yankees history for career home runs. Eyeballing it, he'll get inside that top 3 for sure. Maybe top 2. Mickey Mantle at 536. Can't imagine he passes Babe at 6'5", at 659. What that will do, though, for Aaron Judge, and I'm saying this before looking, but it's only a little bit. I thought it would move it more. Moves the number a little bit for AL MVP favorite. Cal Raleigh's holding on. Well, again, we'll see if Judge can get on a heater. There's about a month left in this Major League Baseball season. So we'll see if Judge can get on a heater. We're on the over in this game. Not going great, not going poorly. Just about even. Maybe a little under even, but we'll see what the Yankees do in the bottom of that second inning. Other spots tonight on the Major League Baseball board. Tampa Bay, looking to snap, I believe, a 4-game losing streak on the road in Chicago. I think they will. I did pair them with the Phillies tonight in a little money line parlay. Pick them in Texas. The Rangers trying to creep into that final AL wildcard spot. They're hosting the Milwaukee Brewers, who are still holding strong with the best record in Major League Baseball. The Rangers are a game and a half out of Seattle. Hard to imagine, though not impossible, but they could reasonably catch, a Boston or Yankees if one of those teams trips up enough. They are presently 5 back of Boston, 6 back of the New York Yankees. Angels Twins with Minnesota as a road favorite in LA. Don't love that. Kyle Hendricks has kind of been better than maybe that number would suggest with Zebby Matthews getting the ball. Michael King gets the ball for the Padres. Not a moment too soon. For San Diego, this has to be such a frustrating season because the Dodgers have tried to open the door for the Padres very wide to, come on in, win this division, change the landscape a little bit. Here's a question. I think I know the answer. I'll pose it to the people. I pose it to our guys in the back. Would the Dodgers still be World Series favorites if they end up a wild card team? I think the answer to that is yes, because of the gap that they presently hold. But I'm not sure it should be. I'm not positive they should be World Series favorites just because you automatically are going to have, you would assume, the Phillies and the Brewers into the next round. Like that, just avoiding a stretch of baseball is big. And the Dodgers, just through the seeding of it all, I don't even know if they'd be home. I pose the question to the people. If the Dodgers are a wild card team, should they still be World Series favorites? Let me know. Feel free. Mariners look for a big-time George Kirby bounce-back spot against the St. Louis Cardinals. He should get it. It's expensive, though, so I just can't get there. If anything, I'd almost rather zag, although, again, you would expect a good spot from Kirby. Could be a pitcher's duel in San Francisco. Robbie Ray and Zach Gallen. Gallen has been pitching much better than Robbie Ray of late. If you wanted to take a shot on the D-backs, that game just does not speak to me right now. Boston is picked against the A's, and then the Dodgers, huge favorites tonight against the Colorado Rockies. Minus 340, basically a 2.5 run line tonight. It's understandable. This Colorado team, it's a long season, and you can only harp on awfulness so much. And the Rockies pulled themselves out of all-time awful. Right now, they're only a win away from matching the White Sox wins of all of last season, which gives you an idea of how awful that Chicago team was. But the Rockies, man, 40-104, 15 games worse than the next closest team. A run differential of minus 372. The next closest is the Nats, and it is 208 runs better. Come on, man. That is bad. I do think Ohtani tonight has a good chance to go deep. I played him for an RBI, threw the little boost that is out there on his home run. I'm already regretting not having a little Judge Ohtani special. I'm sure plenty of you out there have at least considered the Superstar special, the soon-to-be back-to-back MVP special. What do those numbers look like next year? Ohtani or Judge, shorter MVP price next season. You have to think it's Shohei. But doesn't I thought at least the NL projected as, it's supposed to have stiffer competition for the award. Does it even feel like there's any other guys right now in baseball who deserve MVPs? I mean, we're still pretending Cal Raleigh? Are we still doing that? Let's not do it. I'm not trying to be dismissive, but Cal Raleigh's not better than Aaron Judge, right? Again, just, Aaron Judge's best player in baseball this year. Like, if there's only one MVP award, it would be Aaron Judge, not Ohtani. So let's not be silly about this whole thing. We're going to take a break. We're going to come on back, okay? We're going to take a look at the best bets for the night, but we will also give you some of our own thoughts, okay? A little bit expanded for the Week 2 NFL slate. There was one line that absolutely floored me, and maybe it shouldn't have. We'll talk about that next.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, yeah. I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football, because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Dallas Cowboys losing that pass rush, losing another big impact player on the defensive side, all this does is make me like Dak Prescott more and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens more, because what we talked about all offseason, right, Matt, which is, hey, when Dak is healthy, he is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and the defense we think is okay, but we think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. Now I definitely think there's going to be a lot more shootouts.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
So game one, I already made a mistake. I put my touchdown prop bets in hours ago. When you and I started talking before kickoff, I got so excited and I bet him again without even thinking that I already did it.
Oh,
I was like, yeah, Jalen Hurts. I was like, and then I was like, wait, I think I already did this. And I scrolled down. I was like, yeah, you already did do this. And I was like, oh, that's okay. That's okay.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions right here on this Tuesday night. Kevin Walsh with you. We are on the heels of Monday Night Football, which I got to tell you, they say, don't tweet, don't celebrate, don't jinx, right? And ultimately, what I tweet, celebrate, and do is not going to actually impact whether or not the Chicago Bears hold on up double digits in the fourth quarter. But sometimes I try and be smart and cautious, right? What's the value in it? I got to tell you, though, when J.J. McCarthy threw that pick six, I was feeling pretty good. Because Bears-Vikings as much as any game, was a combination of things I believed, and it all led in one direction. Bears win, McCarthy struggles, this is the spot. And for a moment in time, it was perfect. J.J. McCarthy threw a pick six and followed that up with an immediate 3-and-out. Got the football back from the Bears, and they went 3-and-out again. Needed to be game over. It needed to be game over. But perhaps, because I knew I sent that tweet out into the ether laughing about McCarthy being a favorite in this football game, perhaps because I know some Bears fans and I understand Bear football to a small degree, when Cairo Santos missed that field goal, that did not feel great. That felt worrisome. Turned out, Bears lose by 3. And this loss for the Chicago Bears is devastating to anyone like myself who's involved in some level of Bears future. Whether it is the high-level Super Bowl, whether it is, a middle tier, make the playoffs, right? Or even a simple win total, right? I'm involved in this team to make the playoffs, actually tied with the Pats, so 0-2. But the point is, this was devastating. And that's what it is, and I have to own that. But Vikings fans and backers, you can't be serious. You can't actually feel vindicated that J.J. McCarthy's the guy is a guy, right? I understand multiple passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown in the fourth quarter is phenomenal. J.J. McCarthy, in this build-up, completed 3-4 passes, most of them to Justin Jefferson. They were still running the football because the Vikings, since they've drafted McCarthy, have consistently illustrated they're not sure they love it. And they can tweet out as many videos they want of Kevin O'Connell celebrating in the locker room, and I'm sure some of that is Kevin O'Connell being like, oh my goodness, we won, thank goodness, this is great, maybe we're going to be fine. From Sam Darnold winning that job before McCarthy was injured, from the Minnesota Vikings being connected to Aaron Rodgers in the offseason, from the Minnesota Vikings not being sure if they even wanted to move off of Sam Darnold, from the Minnesota Vikings play calling to start this game, from the Minnesota Vikings play calling even when they were in control of this game. I don't think they have the guy. So the Vikings get a win, and that's good for them. I'm still not a believer. I am still not a believer. But the markets are starting to be, as they jump within recent history, perennial NFC powerhouse, the Detroit Lions, in odds to make the playoffs. And that move would be the first time you would get me to say anything positive about Detroit in a while. Basically, since I actually put Detroit as one of Kevin Seven's teams to consider for a Super Bowl future. That was a wild list in hindsight. I stand by it. There was an argument to be made, but certainly not one that I was going to make at the end of the day. But if the Lions and the Vikings play tomorrow, what's the number? Are you telling me it's near pick? That's how you get me to bet Detroit. That is how you get me to bet Detroit. I won't be betting Detroit in week number 2 against Chicago. I also won't be betting the Bears. I know I won't be betting the Vikings. They play a Sunday nighter against Atlanta. A spot I may be betting, I'll probably be betting, is an ugly one. And I might make a habit of betting these ugly games as somebody who's on the Giants and the Saints, 0-2 in week number 1. But so be it. No, it's not the Browns. Though there is a part of me that wonders, could the Browns be cover machines? It's just tucked away. It feels like it's on the board. It's the Tennessee Titans. What feed was everyone else getting from Rams Texans that I wasn't? When I saw that game on the docket, I thought to myself, this is my legitimate thought process. There's no way the books could hang it at 2.5 because they would absolutely get way too much Rams money. I imagine this is a flat 3. And this thing was a clear 4.5 and ran up. Just kept on running and is still running from 4.5 to 5 to 5.5 to 6. Hold on a minute now. Again, unless we've completely discarded home field advantage, and I don't think we have, the Rams go from the West Coast for a 1 o'clock game where ultimately, aside from Puka Nacua and a couple of decent Stafford throws, the offense was pretty uninspiring. And I am not going to heap praise on this defense. I know everybody wants to, right? Oh, we're bringing up last year's great close to the regular season when they were playing the Jets and the Cardinals and the Niners who couldn't get away from themselves. That was the same defense that gave up 40 to Josh Allen. It was the same defense that Saquon Barkley shredded time and time again. I don't buy the defense. I don't buy the spot. I think Cam Ward has juice. I'll be stunned if I'm not on the Titans come this Sunday. Last minute locks next.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Lost Pages. Let's get lucky.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Dallas Cowboys losing that pass rush, losing another big impact player on the defensive side, all this does is make me like Dak Prescott more and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens more because what we talked about all offseason, right, Matt, which is, hey, when Dak is healthy, he is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and the defense we think is okay, but we think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. Now I definitely think there's going to be a lot more shootouts.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
So game 1, I already made a mistake. I put my touchdown prop bets in hours ago. When you and I started talking before kickoff, I got so excited and I bet him again without even thinking that I already did it.
I
was like, Jalen Hurts. And then I was like, wait, I think I already did this. And I scrolled down. I was like, yeah, you already did do this. And I was like, that's okay. That's okay.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
With you right here on SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh. But a good little time here on a Tuesday. Tomorrow, the return of target player props. Some numbers that we're going to look for on open for this Sunday. Things that could be some overreactions, or there could be some value, maybe some weak spots you see on a defense that you thought would be there that are confirmed. These are going to be some. We did this throughout. I know 2 seasons ago all the time. I think we did a little bit last season as well. But we're going to do some target player props tomorrow, which I'm very, very excited about. So that'll be a really good time. We are going to go through the slate. I do just want to flash these up again and leave them with the people. And I'll tell you what. I'll be open-minded. 7 week one overreactions. Tweet at me, at @DKevinWalsh, the one that you think I am most off base about. Here they are. Travis Hunter will have 100 receptions this season. Come on, there cannot be any pushback. There just can't be. I wish they would post a number. Hampton had a good workload in week number 1, so I'm not off of it yet. Chargers won that game. Hunter has my attention, though, in that offensive rookie of the year market. Marvin Harrison Jr. still has a chance to be the best wide receiver in his draft class. Marvin Harrison Jr. has been more productive in his NFL career than people give him credit for. And the pedigree is there. Don't push him aside. This one you cannot push back on. I'm already right about this. The 49ers are going to try load management this year. Look at the George Kittle update. They're going to try load management. And if Brock Purdy does not start against New Orleans, then as right as it can be. Jackson Dart will start week 3 at home against the Chiefs. Now, the caveat here is if the Giants upset the Cowboys, obviously Russ is keeping the job. But if they don't, I don't see any other way. Saquon Barkley, no chance to repeat as Offensive Player of the Year. And it's funny, but we've talked about this one a little bit, and you can be like, come on, a little obvious. But the market still has Saquon Barkley with the second best odds. And there's a big gap between Saquon and the third best odds in Puka Nacua, Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb. And if you agree with me, then that just means there's going to be meat on the bone elsewhere, right? If you're willing to straight up say one of the top dogs in that race is out, that creates some value. Jaden Daniels on Thursday night, we're going to watch him go against the Green Bay Packers. I expect more running. His rushing prop is out and available. It checks in at 43.5. Looks light. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a big-time runner this year, and I think he runs for 1,000. I think we see that uptick. Think about early Lamar, we saw more 1,000-yard seasons early Lamar, where there were more nondescript running backs for him. That's the case here for, again, it's a little bit of a blurry backfield in Washington. I know Jacoby Merritt's got a lot of hype. Kid has talent. Still a 7th-round rookie. It's going to take time for him to fully develop, right? Chris Rodriguez was inactive. Austin Eckler, more of a pass catcher than a runner. Expect Jaden Daniels to be on the ground. And then the last one, John Harbaugh's on the hot seat in Baltimore. Listen, the funny thing about this is, okay, John Harbaugh can win his next 16 football games. And not only would his seat be hot, ready for this one? It would be even hotter if he wins his next 16 football games. Because then they have to make the Super Bowl. They have to make the Super Bowl. Or questions will be asked of Harbaugh in Baltimore. His brother, by the way, Jim Harbaugh, should have shorter odds to win Coach of the Year. Like, Aaron Glenn, come on, dude, stop. Aaron Glenn is shorter odds than Harbaugh. And what? The Jets aren't making the playoffs. He's a defensive guy. Aaron Rodgers lit him on fire in a revenge spot in week 1. Stop. Aaron Glenn. Come on now. Can't be. Let's do best bets, okay? Some of these are off of the board, if not all of them already. I think maybe only one to go. So root them in, all right? Over Nats Marlins for Pat, 8.5. Over Cubs Braves, 8.5 for AJ. Wow, I just realized what this is. Okay. Over 8.5 Yankees Tigers for myself. We need 9 runs, all right? Root them in. And then root in a Julian Alvarez anytime goal scorer on the way out of here for Sam at plus 230 for Argentina in a World Cup qualifier. I am also tonight on Ohtani for a home run and RBI in the W. Give me Skylar Diggins for 14-plus points, over 13.5, as the Storm look to secure their position in the WNBA playoffs at home against the Golden State Valkyries. It's been a delight to have you with us here on Game Time Decisions. In-Game Live is next on SportsGrid.